Wow, that was pretty special, Frank, that heavyweight fight.
It certainly was exciting. I mean, he obviously come to fight Larty, and Larty had a good record, you know, going into that fight. We never made any bones about that. The only loss he had on his record was he had to pull out of a fight for an injury caused in the fight. And he, as I say, he came to fight.
Far be it from me to tell you your business, but have you got an option on Larty?
No, I'm not. I'm in the Daniel Dubois business. I've told you that at the beginning. You know, that was a fight at the end of the day. They're good, in some ways they're good fights. You know, he got clipped a couple of times and he'll learn from that. You know, there was a few mistakes there. You know, when the guy, I thought, you know, when he was complaining about being hit low, as soon as he came out firing, didn't he? And normally it's the other way round. He jumps on him, and as I said to Daniel afterwards, that's what you should have been doing. But he, you know, he's a decent. I mean, he's a decent heavyweight we fought, and it's another notch on his belt. More importantly, it's a learning fight. It's a fight that he'll learn from. He's not an idiot. He got caught a couple of times. He's shown he's got a good chin. The fella's knocked a few over, and at the end of the day, he did what he does, which is to stop the man.
I wasn't being mischievous about Larty, Frank, but my thinking on it was, well, a very good yardstick tonight. Would you use that yardstick against one of your other heavyweights potentially?
Absolutely. You know, he comes to fight, and why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we? You know, and people would buy into that. You know, I mean, he didn't come to sit on the floor, did he, Larty?
No,
he fancied the job. Yes. There's no doubt about that.
Maybe he fancied it a bit too much, actually.
Unfortunately, that's how it looks at one stage. But you know, having said that, that's what heavyweight boxing's all about. You know, these are big men. They're big lumps. You know, one punch can turn a fight just like that. And you know, and no one can say that we're looking for soft touches with Daniel. Not at all. You know, he's still a young man. I've already said a million times, only had 7 senior amateur bouts and what he's had as a pro. And that is very, you know, it's not massive experience for a man his age.
And yet you are intent on putting this fight together with Joe Joyce.
It will happen. I mean, there's no doubt that. We're going to have a press conference in the week and we're announcing what's happening with our 3 heavyweights.
Give us a little clue then, Frank.
It may be on Wednesday, it may be on Thursday, the press conference.
You saw that coming a mile off, didn't you? Steve, the public surely are going to get so involved in this now because we have Nathan Gorman, Dubois tonight, and Big Joe, you know, all lovable guys as well, incidentally.
So we're just getting Dubois on the edges of the public's vision. They're just starting to see Dubois. They're just starting to understand Dubois. Joe Joyce is one fight away from plugging back into where he was in 2016. Gorman gets thrown in the mix. I don't know what the plans are for that July show, but if all 3 of them fought in separate fights, it's bingo, bingo, bingo. And what's happening? Joe Joyce is something's about when people watch Joe Joyce, they look at him, they see how big he is, and they see how he talks, and they see the medal. And when they watch Dubois, they see him hit people on the chin and go down. What's not to like? Listen, Paul, we've waited a long time to be excited about a few heavyweights in this country. Let's get that right. An awful long time. When one's come along, it's not like buses, one's come along. And then 5 years later, another one's come along. Suddenly, we're overwhelmed in this country with heavies. 3 of them here under this banner and on this channel.
Just back to Dubois for a moment. There was a great show that we put together at the Royal Albert Hall. Here we are now tonight. What is now the SSE Arena, but you know, between the 2 venues, as an example, a public darling like Frank Bruno, he basically had a residency for a long period in his career at the Royal Albert Hall and in this hall. Bruno fought here 16 times, actually. So would your plan with Dubois and Joyce, both London boys, remember, be to let them have the floor here and build this, you know, the big crowd in the capital for them, Frank?
13th of July at the O2, which is in London. That's what's happening. There'll be, you know, and we'll be announcing the details of our 3 heavyweights who will fight on that show.
And do you feel you need to do a little bit with them as personalities, not as boxers, because we can see the talent? And Joe Joyce, we believe, should have won the Olympic gold medal and didn't. That we know they've got the quality, but in terms of selling them beyond the industry of boxing to the wider public, how do you go about that?
Well, it's like any fighter coming through. You want to be, you know, they watch, the public are watching box. It's very important that after a fight they have an interview, so people can hear him. They want to hear the guy's voice. What's he sound like? You know, how is he? All those things are. It's a collective effort between TV, us, and in general media to make that happen. You know, Daniel, I think, has captured the public's imagination already. Joe Joyce, you know, he won the silver medal on terrestrial TV. Everybody knows who he is. And Nathan's coming through. Nathan's got a great personality. Of course, it's a building process. But what you got to remember, I think that was Daniel's
11th
fight. It's the 11th fight. You know, that's like nothing, is it? As far as a fight, especially at his age, as a heavyweight. You know, 21 years of age, 11 fights. I mean, that's unusual.
Is it part of the strategy, do you think, even before you put them together, that you will put them on the same show? Would that help, do you think?
Yeah, it's all going to be part of it. I mean, that's what the 13th of July is going to be about. It's going to be about our heavyweight night, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fantastic night, and these guys are exciting. Yeah. In their each, and they're all different individuals. And what the three of them have got, the three of them all have self-belief. They all think they're the best. They really do think they've got the beating of the, each thinks they've got the beating of the other two and probably others. So it's now my job to sort of bring them on a bit more and obviously make these fights happen.
So we'll let you off the hook on this one because Richie's worked with all of them, and this is Richie's question now. You've got to rate them right now, Rich.
Well, I mean, with Dubois and Joe Joyce, most people that I speak to, and myself included, I think if Dubois doesn't get it done within 4 rounds, then the tide turns and it will probably go to Joyce, because Joyce is a 10 and 12 round fighter, and probably Daniel isn't quite at that stage yet because of his age and his experience. But we all know that Daniel is very, very strong early and he can land that shot. And let's face it, with Joe Joyce, he's probably more vulnerable in those early rounds and needs to get over those first 4 or 5. And then, of course, there's Nathan Gorman, who I think is a good all-rounder, and I've seen several spars between Nathan, Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois, and there was nothing in it at Team GB. So, yeah, listen, let's get it on. It's really exciting time.
And David, as a man who went to the very top, what actually separates these fellas? When the big testing moments come?
At the moment, I think of experience. I think the most experienced of the three is Joyce, and a big factor in the whole mix of the three of them, I believe, is Adam Booth. I believe Adam Booth come in as Joe Joyce's trainer.
Your former trainer.
My former trainer, the guy who took me from the amateurs all the way to the heavyweight championship and beyond, is the guy who could make the difference between the three of them. So Abel Sanchez, his old coach who he's no longer with, had him walking forward without moving his head, whereas Adam Booth is very, very adamant that his fighters have a very good defense. And if there's one criticism of Joe Joyce, is his lack of head movement, whereas Adam Booth solely focuses on punch evasion and counter punching, which I think Joe could really use.
Frank, how did that part of this come together, Joyce and Booth? Did Booth volunteer for it?
I've got no idea. I mean, his management team, Sam and the other Adam, they decided that's what they wanted to do. They decided they want to be basing themselves over here. Abel Sanchez is a good fighter. You've also got to remember, it's very difficult when a guy's been a pro for many, many years, as Joe Joyce has been. I think he was 31 when he turned pro, wasn't he? That's right. 31, and suddenly he's into the pro game. So you're going from fighting 4-rounders to suddenly fighting 10s and 12 rounds. So it's a big culture shock for him. So he's got to learn very quickly, as he said himself. He wants to be fighting for world titles really quick because he's 33 years of age. That's what Adams. That's what he's got to do. That's what he's got to do. He's got to try and see if he can do that. And Joe's a good fighter, as we all know. But I think these two youngsters, I think they're excellent fighters as well. And I think they've both got good trainers. I think both of them. I think Ricky Hatton's is no slouch. He's been there himself and done it. Yeah. And I think Martin Bowers is doing a really good job with Daniel. He's done everything that's been asked of him. This fight tonight was became a bit of a bang out at the end, or a bang up, but it was what it was. And as I say, hopefully he will, and I'm quite sure he will learn from it.
Frank, these are all great problems to have. A lot of other people would wish they had problems like that.